Hi guys, welcome to iTTV. Now in today's lesson, we're moving into a new chapter and we're going to be talking about saving the environment. Now, have you heard anything about recycling? Now, recycling is the process of turning things that we want to throw away into new things that we can use again. By doing this, we get to conserve and save the environment. Now, let's read the first text to learn a little bit about recycling. Are you ready? Here we go. And the title is Recycling Paper. Have you noticed the brown, blue, and orange rubbish bins with the triangular symbol on them? That symbol is the symbol for recycling. Recycling is the process of turning used materials into new products to reduce waste. Most of the things that we throw away every day can be recycled. Paper is a very good example. We use tons of paper in our schools, offices, and homes every day. According to Claudia Thompson in her book Recycled Paper, The Essential Guide, it takes about 24 trees to make a ton of paper. Trees provide us with oxygen, shade, and a habitat for animals. It absorbs rainfall, which prevents landslides and is also an important source of food. Because trees are such a big part of our life, we should do all we can to conserve and ensure that there is no wastage. The next time you see the brown, blue, and orange rubbish bin, remember that spending a few extra minutes to put your rubbish into the right bin is a step to saving our environment. Now, did you understand the text? Before we go on to discuss it, let's look at some of the words found in the text that you might not be too familiar with. Let's look at the first word. The first word is garbage. Now, garbage means rubbish, which is things that we throw away. Next, we have reusing. Reusing is the process of taking something and using it again for the second time, third time, and so on. Next, we have the word clogged. Clogged means when something is blocking. For example, let's just say we have a river and it's full of rubbish, so the river is clogged with rubbish. Let's look at the word polluted. Now, polluted means when you damage or harm your environment. For example, take the air that we breathe. When the air is so dirty that you can't even breathe, that is polluted air. And finally, we have the word recycle. Now, recycle from the text, we know that is the process of taking something we've already used and using it again, this time as something new. Now, let's go through the text again. Now, let's look at the first part of the text. They talk about the brown, blue, and orange rubbish bins. Now, these rubbish bins are recycling bins. Now, if you've seen any of them, you will see this symbol on them. Now, this is a recycling symbol. So when they talk about the triangular symbol, this is what they're talking about. Now, recycling is the process of taking used materials that you want to throw away and reusing them again. So that is the process of recycling. Okay, now looking at the next slide, they talk about recycling paper. Now, paper is something we use so much of. Just look at your school bag. Your school bag is full of books, and these books are made out of paper. Now, I want you to think, what is going to happen next year when you go to primary 6? What are you going to do with all of these books? Now, many students throw them away, but there's something better you can do. You can recycle them. Now, according to Claudia Thompson in her book, Recycled Paper, The Essential Guide, she says that it takes 24 trees just to make 1 ton of paper. That is 1,000 kilograms of paper. Now, a school uses much more than that. So, every ton of paper that we use, we are actually cutting down 24 trees. Now, let's think about this. How long does it take for 1 tree to grow? It takes years and years. So 24 trees for 1 ton of paper, that is a lot of trees we're cutting down. Now let's read this slide. Trees provide us with oxygen, shade, and a habitat for animals. It absorbs rainfall, which prevents landslides and is also an important source of food. Now, the first part of this statement is very important. Trees provide oxygen. Now, without oxygen, we wouldn't be alive today. So trees contribute such a big part to our existence. The reason we are here is largely because of our environment. So it is our job to save it and protect it. Now that we've gone through the text, let's look at some questions to see whether you can answer. Now let's look at this part of the passage. It says, trees provide us with oxygen, shade, and a habitat for animals. It absorbs rainfall and prevents landslides and is also an important source of food. Now, trees are so important. Now let's just look at the first thing. It provides us with oxygen. Without oxygen, we would not be able to live. So trees are such an important part of our environment. Now that we've read the text and understood it, let's answer some comprehension questions. Okay guys, have you gotten all your books and pencils ready? Let's start. Choose the correct answer for the questions below. So let's look at question 1. Question 1. What is the passage mainly about? A. Cutting trees. B. The importance of paper. C. The importance of recycling. Or D. How to throw rubbish. Question 2. Which of the following is false? A. Trees provide us with oxygen. B. It takes about 24 trees to make a ton of paper. C. Trees are only good for making paper. D. Trees take a long time to grow. Question 3. The recycle bins are blue, orange, and blank in color. Question 4. Why should we conserve trees? A. There is too much paper. B. So animals will not lose their habitat. C. Because it's the law. D. Because it takes 24 trees to make a ton of paper. Now, moving on to question 5. Question 5 is a little bit different, so let's read the instructions first. Complete the sentence with the information from the passage. And the question is, from the passage, we know that instead of throwing away paper, we should blank it. So you should fill up this blank with information from the passage. Okay, now that you've finished, let's look at the answers. Question 1. What is the passage mainly about? And the answer is C. The passage is mainly about the importance of recycling. So the answer is C, the importance of recycling. Let's move on to question 2. Which of the following is false? Okay, now the answer to this is C. Trees are only good for making paper. Now we know that trees are very, very important. One of the most important things that trees give us is oxygen. So this is clearly false. Let's move to question 3. The recycle bins are blue, orange, and blank in color. Now, this is straight from the text, and the answer is brown. The recycle bins are blue, orange, and brown in color. So the answer is D, brown. Question 4. Why should we conserve trees? Now, this one is a little bit tricky, but the answer is so animals will not lose their habitat. So let's look at the question again. They ask you, why should we conserve? So this shows you something that, okay, is a choice. Now, if you put C because it's a law, now that is true, right? But we must follow the law. We should do what is right. So in this case, the answer is B, so animals will not lose their habitat. So the answer for question 4 is B, so animals will not lose their habitat. Finally, we move to question 5. Now, like I told you, this one's a little bit different. From the passage, we know that instead of throwing away paper, we should blank it. So what should we do? What is this passage mainly about? That's right. The answer is recycle. From the passage, we know that instead of throwing away paper, we should recycle it. Now, after going through this text and going through these questions, we now know a little bit more about recycling and the importance of recycling. Now, let's move on to the next part of today's class. Now, let's look at the two conjunctions we'll be talking about today. So and because. We'll start with the word so. I'm going to give you two simple sentences and then I'm going to join it using the word so. He is tired. He is going to take a nap. So if I put these two sentences together to form a compound sentence, it would become, he is tired, so he is going to take a nap. Now, the word so is used before the explanation. Now, let's look at the conjunction because. To explain this, I'm going to use the same two sentences, but this time in a different order. He is taking a nap. He is tired. When I put them together, he is taking a nap because he is tired. So do you see how the two conjunctions work differently? Now the conjunction because is also used when answering the question why. Why did he do this? Because. So do you see the difference? Now let's do some exercise to further understand this. Are you ready? We'll start by reading the instructions. Use the word so to make a compound sentence from the following sentences. The first question is, I was hungry. I made a sandwich. Question 2. My dad's car broke down. My dad sent his car to the workshop. Question 3. The book was expensive. I did not buy it. Question 4. The room was very cold. I wore a jacket. And question 5. He studied very hard. He did well for his exams. Now, let's look at the answers to see whether you've used the word so correctly. We'll start with question 1. I was hungry. I made a sandwich. And the answer is, I was hungry, so I made a sandwich. Now, did you get that right? Let's move on to question 2. My dad's car broke down. My dad sent his car to the workshop. Now here, we're going to replace the word dad as well. Let's look at the answer. My dad's car broke down, so he sent his car to the workshop. Let's move on to question number 3. The book was expensive. I did not buy it. The answer is, the book was expensive, so I did not buy it. Question 4. The room was very cold. I wore a jacket. The answer is, the room was very cold, so I wore a jacket. And finally, he studied very hard. He did well for his exams. He studied very hard, so he did well for his exams. I now hope you have a better understanding of how to use the conjunction so to form better compound sentences. Now let's move on to the conjunction because. Are you ready? Here we go. Use the word because to make a compound sentence from the following sentences. Now in the first question we have, Sally needs a dress. Sally has a party to attend. Question 2. Jason was punished by his teacher. Jason broke the school rules. Question 3. My mother baked a cake for me. It was my birthday. Question 4. I don't have to go to school. It is a school holiday. Question 5. Mrs. Lee was not in school today. Mrs. Lee was sick. Okay guys, you have just done 5 questions using the conjunction because. Let's see how you did. Question 1. Sally needs a dress. Sally has a party to attend. The answer is, Sally needs a dress because she has a party to attend. Let's look at question 2. Jason was punished by his teacher. Jason broke the school rules. And the answer is, Jason was punished by his teacher because he broke the school rules. Now remember, don't use the word Jason twice in this sentence. After the word because, remember to change the name Jason to he. Question 3. My mother baked a cake for me. It was my birthday. And the answer is, my mother baked a cake for me because it was my birthday. Question 4. I don't have to go to school. It is a school holiday. The answer is, I don't have to go to school because it is a school holiday. And finally, question 5. Mrs. Lee was not in school today. Mrs. Lee was sick. And the answer is, Mrs. Lee was not in school today because she was sick. Now, after this exercise, you should have a better understanding of using the conjunction because. Okay guys, well done. Let's summarize what we did today. First, we talked about recycling, and we talked about how important it is to conserve and protect our environment. Next, we talked about using the conjunctions so and because. I hope you had a lot of fun in today's lesson. Till I see you again, bye-bye.